Hello again, Cons here. I wasn't actually going to cover any practice builds for Alatreon before the monster actually came out and we knew more about its mechanics, but then I saw a tweet from a fairly popular member of the community being kind of shitty, and so I'm basically making this out of spite. No, so I was making this build for myself in preparation for Alatreon, and I thought, you know what, I might as well share it with you guys anyway. Even though it might not necessarily be optimal, it's a fairly foolproof way to handle the fight. So yeah, I thought I'd show it off. Just a couple of things before I get too deep into it. This is entirely speculation. We don't know anything about Alatreon's mechanics yet. We sort of vaguely know that there's a huge emphasis on elemental, both elemental damage and elemental resistance, and that whole supernova attack is apparently going to be crazy. They showed us footage of that. But so we're basically basing this off of speculation, but it's fairly well educated guesses, and also based on how Alatreon used to behave in past games. So this is the set here. You see I have a base set, and I'll show you the decorations and the skills now. You see I've left some blank. We'll talk about that in a second, but right now the skills we have are Agitator, Resentment, Health Boost, Blight Res, Free Element, Crit Boost, and Evasion Window. The Evasion Window and 2 of the Blight Res points just come with Safi'jiiva's set. We are putting in the third one manually because Alatreon tends to have a whole bunch of different blights, and I know a lot of people don't bring nullberries along with them and they don't want to have to sheath to use them, so yeah, I just thought I'd put on the extra point. It's only a single slot. You can swap that out for attack if you like. You can see we've got Safi'jiiva's seal. Dragon Vein Awakening is a pretty standard thing, gives you 40 affinity and a bunch of elemental damage extra while your weapon is unsheathed, but also has the health mechanics. As you can see, we're using elemental bowgun. The Xeno bowgun, which you upgrade just from base Xeno'jiiva's bowgun, you can see from the ammo list on the right, it carries all 5 elements of ammo. Flaming Water, Freeze, Thunder, and Dragon. Now the fact that they've given us one decoration of each element over the past few days, and the way they've been talking about Alatreon, and they've given it new elemental moves and stuff, I'm inclined to believe that they're going to drop the old mechanics of Ice and Dragon and probably have a more general elemental weaknesses that change as Alatreon enters its different modes, and I think most elements are going to be important. That is subject to change, and we'll talk about how to handle that in a second. But quickly back to the skills. Free Element gives you 7 bullets in a clip as opposed to the 5 you had normally. Health Boost is kind of going to be essential for this, especially as a gunner in my opinion, although you can swap that out for DPS if you're that way inclined. And Agitator and Resentment are pretty standard. Let me quickly show you the bowgun augment. As you can see, we have 1 health regen and 2 status. Now you might be wondering why I'm running health regen on Safi'jiiva's set. The thing is, with the bowgun, because of the way it works, there's a bit of a delay from when you actually shoot the bullet to when it actually does damage and restores your health. And in that time, it's usually enough for Safi'jiiva, for Resentment to settle in from the Safi'jiiva health lust, and then you'll regain it right back afterwards from health regen. This is my testing. It probably differs based on frame rate, so you should check that out in your own one. Equip Resentment, then unequip Resentment and see if the damage changes. Sorry, equip and unequip Health Augment and see if the damage changes with Resentment. You know, you kind of get the idea. But yeah, I'm running health regen because I get the feeling this fight's going to be tough and I'm going to want to be at full health for as long as possible. Now, Alatreon is going to have several modes, and it's likely that each mode is going to have a set elemental weakness and probably an influx of certain elemental attacks. So for example, Ice mode might be weak to fire ammo and he'll do a lot of ice-based attacks would be my expectation. Remember, this is all speculation. And so what I would expect you to do is to make one set per mode of Alatreon or per sort of way it behaves. And so for example, on this set, let's say I have that theoretical ice mode, I would put hard fire resistance into this slot. And for my, I would put hard ice resistance onto this slot if it's an ice mode. And I would put fire damage if it takes more fire damage. We won't know the specifics of the elemental damage until a little bit after the fight comes out. So keep tuned and I'll update you on that stuff with a more dedicated build once we know the specifics of how Alatreon works. But yeah, you can see I now have max fire attack and I have max ice res. The ice res gives you roughly 20 plus a bit. Let me just find it. 20 plus a bit, which is nothing to sneeze at. It's basically taking off 20% of any of the ice damage from any of his ice-based attacks. You can see I have a version of the set here for a theoretical mode where he is Thunder, using Thunder attacks and takes more ice damage. I have no clue if that's the specific elements that he's going to be weak and strong against. But this is as an example. Once we know, that's how I would build it. So yeah, it's pretty standard stuff. You're just going to be using elemental bowgun. There is no evade reload on this version of the set, so you're just going to be shooting away. You can see Resentment keeps activating and not activating, but I'm maintaining high Resentment. You can try taking off Resentment from the set and seeing you'll get the same damage numbers as me. Just to clarify, before anybody asks, we're at 50 affinity with Agitator active. We don't need to worry about affinity on this set because we don't have crit element, and the vast majority of our damage comes from elemental. Now, To deal with the eclectic meteor equivalent or whatever it's called, I can't remember how to pronounce it or what its name is. I'm just going to call it the Big Nova. To deal with the Big Nova, we know that if we deal enough elemental damage, it'll be weakened. And so hopefully you won't need to do anything special for it. That said, whenever he's about to use that attack, he's going to change elemental forms. If we can figure out what he's going to change into before he uses the move, we should Farcaster away and then change our set accordingly. If we do not, I would advise spamming Superman dives, spamming heals. We have our max potions and our ability to craft more max potions here. I've also, as a last resort on the set, you can see at the bottom under specialized tools, I'm personally taking Vitality Mantle for the first few hunts. This will allow you to sort of, as a last ditch, if maybe you can't find your Farcaster or whatever, just pop this on and you'll be fine. Yeah, if you don't have the ability to out heal and you haven't done enough elemental damage and Vitality Mantle doesn't turn out to be good, just Farcast away. That's going to be my plan for Alatreon, at least until we figure out the mechanics in more detail. Just going to Farcast every time it Novas. When you Farcast, you have the ability to then change your sets if you want to, or to stock up on your items which may be running low, your healing or your ammo. Speaking of ammo, I'm bringing the 5 elemental ammo, so I only have to bother with 1 item set per. Don't forget to reset whenever you go back to camp. This gun can use all 3 statuses, main statuses, poison, sleep and paralysis, so I might as well bring them. I've also brought sticky for occasional KOs. However, this gun isn't suited to shooting that. It has a high amount of recoil, so I don't think that I'd recommend it. It's just, I'll keep it with me just in case, just to see how it pans out. But yeah, most importantly are the elemental ammos. I've also, as you can see, I bring the combination for Farcasters, Excite Shrooms and Smoke Nuts. And I also bring the combinations for all 5 dragon ammos. And you can see you can only make 10 of the Dragonfell berries. Don't worry about the elementals, these make 6 each. So you'll have more than enough elemental ammo, especially for when you Farcast back and are able to replenish your items. And just to show you my Radial menu, I have it so that I have my Farcast for emergency retreating when he's about to use the Nova. I have my 2 mantles that I want to use. And I also have my heals, which is in the forms of max potions and the combines for more. And my 4 main ammo combines. Again, I'm not a big fan of dragon ammo, so I wouldn't really recommend. If the fight is heavily dragon based, I would advise you have a separate set for that, using maybe some sort of blade master or a gun better suited for dragon ammo than this LBG or LBGs in general. That's all there really is to it. As I said, I wasn't actually going to share this, but I mean, I have a YouTube channel and I'm trying to help people play Monster Hunter, so why not give you some information on how I'm going to handle things just in case it happens to be useful. Yeah, I'll come up with a more sort of specialized build to Alatreon specific mechanics and weaknesses in a bit when it comes out tomorrow. But yeah, hopefully this helps. It's a fairly easy set to build. It's just full Safi Jiva, which is fairly easy to grind the parts for. And then Xeno Jiva's weapon. Yeah, not very hard to upgrade at all. And the ammo's all fairly cheap. Yeah, it's a fairly simple build to put together. So hopefully this helps. Yeah, have a lovely day. Take it easy. Bye-bye.